Okay, so this is a steam flow, and there's actually instrument noise in this signal. Okay, but we're looking at over 21,600 raw data points in 6 hours. That's a lot of data. Um, that's just a lot. And actually, there's noise here. The instrument's actually failing, but it's really hard to see. You can kind of see it if your eye's trained, but I didn't see it. I didn't notice it right away until I had the customer zoom in. You can kind of see it. There's a line that kind of goes through here about 5,800 units. Okay. And there are times where it's relatively stable, and then there's times where it's excessively noisy. Okay. So I had the customer zoom in and send us a screenshot. So here's what it looks like zoomed in. And I said, my gut tells me, you could probably collect this every 5 or 10 seconds. And that would probably be good enough. It's probably not, flows tend to be very noisy anyway. So you could probably collect this every 5 to 10 seconds and be okay. And as you can see, you've got some times where it's a relatively stable signal, kind of rings, it looks like it has kind of a ringing pattern, but that's not altogether, out of the ordinary. But it's like between 608 and 614, 615 almost, where it really starts to resonate. It's a resonant almost kind of a thing. That's a problem. That's probably an instrument issue, right? And even if you scan it a little bit slower than what it is now, it may even be more apparent than when you look at it completely zoomed out like this. You'd probably see it in your everyday, looking at it. And here, like if they're looking at Process Book or PyVision or whatever tool, and I don't care what data historian you're looking at, it's going to look noisy. So you're actually making your people's job much more difficult. And that's where I think, we really need to recommend the right thing. So I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I'm a big analogy person. So a lot of times with things that don't change or cannot physically change very often, because there are times, we see temperatures in a big continuous process, you pour the coals to a vessel, and it's a large vessel, it may take minutes before it moves a degree or two. So why are you collecting data every second or half a second, right? Collect it at a rate that is actually somewhat, analogous to your process. So think of it, here's my analogy. So let's say you have a large ship like an oil tanker or an aircraft carrier, and you're tracking its heading. And it changes heading. It's going to take a little while to do that. You can't turn a ship of that size very quickly. So why would you collect a heading reading every half a second when it really can't move? And if it does move, it's just the ocean or little, instrument noise or whatever. It's not real. Versus you got this little toy remote control boat that can turn on a dime, right? Yeah, every half second might be the right thing, the right collection interval. And I think there are processes out there where half a second, 1 second, even faster than that in some cases, data, is reasonable, right? These discrete processes, really high speed, sure, collect data really quickly because it'll probably pay you off because you're probably going to detect something that you wouldn't normally detect. In these bigger, slower moving processes, like, we typically run into, with the work we do, I just think you're creating work. No, I don't think. I know you're creating work. You're creating work for the data scientists. You're creating work for your people. You're creating work on the system. You're storing too much data. It's going to fill up hard drives. Your backup strategy is going to struggle. And even if all this goes to the cloud, you're going to have to pay for more bandwidth. You're going to have to pay for more storage. Your storage is going to grow at just incredible rates, and it doesn't need to. You're not getting any more information. I looked at doing cloud servers when I was looking to host something for ourselves for doing tests, and I liked the idea of being able to turn it on and off, but then I was like, I want this thing to kind of sit and collect data, fake data, all the time, so we could trend it and do different things with it. But I started thinking about, my bill grows whether I use it or not. And I just think about these large systems that are, going to have millions of sensors being stored in the cloud, and you start doing something like this, somebody's going to get mad in a hurry when they figure out what's happening. And then they're going to pay expensive data scientists to come clean it. Just don't think it's a good strategy, y'all. And those of you that are recommending this need to stop. You just need to stop. You need to understand what you're doing and how this is causing harm. So this is my rant. I don't usually do it, but this one kind of wound me up, in case you can't tell. Anyway, have a good day, y'all. Jim Gavin, Industrial Insight.